I think it's a very big factor in a lot of great runners is they're very competitive and they always want to win. At practice, I try to translate that. I try to use my competitiveness to make me want to go faster and build up even more speed and even more endurance.
Lane 8 Media, we are back with another fire episode. We are with just a terror on the track and distance. Jack Steineman from North Catholic is with us today. We're just going to rattle off some of his PRs, some stuff he's done very well in the last year. It kind of dated back to his freshman. He'll be a junior this year. His PRs so far are in the 1600 meter, a 4:18:31, in the 3200 meter, a 9:12, in the 800 meter, a 2:02:74, in the 1 mile, a 4:22:21, in the 2 mile, a 9:19:07, in the 3000 meter, an 8:30, and in the 5K, a 14-minute 45-second. Jack was second place at WPO Championships in the 1600 meter this past year, along with finishing 10th place in the PA State in the 1600 meter. He finished second place at WPO Championships as well in the 3200 meter, along with finishing fifth place at the PA State meet in the 3200 meter. Jack also ran at the New Balance Nationals in a couple of races, finishing ninth in the 5,000 meter. He's a two-time WPO medalist in the 1600 meter, along with a two-time WPO medalist in the 3200 meter. Along with that, he also was a first-team All-State in the 3200 meter this past season. And then for the indoor season, Jack placed first at the indoor championships for WPOs in the 3000 meter, and then also in the indoor meet at the state PA, he finished seventh in the 3000 meters. So, Jack, glad to have you. How you doing?
Been great. Glad to be on here.
Hey, man, thanks for joining us. Congratulations to a great year. You're the first distance runner that we've had on the show so far. Walk us through some of the mentality when it comes to how you go about your races. There's going to be times where obviously cardio and endurance plays a huge factor in those longer runs. But like, talk about how you pace yourself and what your mentality is going into the race.
Honestly, I'm kind of an odd one when it comes to distance running. A lot of people like to plan out their races a lot and think about what they're going to do. I don't really do that as much. I kind of like the day of kind of figure out what my splits have to be to hit a certain time. And I kind of go out and feel it out to start. And then if I'm feeling good, I try to speed up, if not like at least keep the same pace. And I finish strong, obviously. That's the name of the game at the current moment, I guess. But honestly, like during the race, you're not really thinking about much. Kind of like your mind's kind of going blank a little bit. But you know, you try to keep hitting off times, clicking off times every lap, and that's just the overall goal in the mile and 2 mile races.
Okay. So you're focusing more on the times and like the splits more than the guys around you and where you're at, or does that kind of play a factor in it too?
I'm definitely trying to like push for the lead pack always, but at least as of recently, I try to focus more on the time part of it because I mean I understand that there's times that I really want to hit, and if I'm not on pace with those times, then I kind of get a little down on myself. So I focus more on the time than the placement. I mean, I think that'll change as I get older. You know, junior senior year, I think I'll be pushing more for the placement as as opposed to the time. But especially sophomore, freshman year, I was going for the times for sure.
It's distance running is kind of an interesting thing for me because like when I was throwing, you got to see what was going on a lot of the time. Like, you could see the distances that guys were throwing and you're kind of in the mix. When you run in like a big meet, like at nationals and stuff, and you have different heats, like you were saying, it's not so much about the guys you're running with in your heat as more it is the time. You want to post a good time and it's you versus the clock a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's more interesting. Also, like it helps. You always have like a part of the race. Like even if you're in a heat where you don't think you can compete to win the entire race, you always have that time to shoot after. So I think that makes it a little more interesting. Every race matters more, and every race is a chance to get better and PR.
What's one thing your coaches focus on during the week? Like, are you guys more working on the endurance aspect? Are you working on different things other than that?
For cross country, we're focusing heavy on endurance with a whole lot of mileage every week. And then when in terms of track season, we usually do like a speed workout every week where we'll get on the track and try to, hit good paces for, 400s, 800s. We usually finish off with 200s for those speed workouts. So try to get our paces up after focusing on miles for so long during cross country.
Yeah, it's pretty cool that you're doing cross country because I was going to kind of lean into that because I saw on your shirt you have the cross country stuff on. How does that translate? Because obviously you're working on distance. Obviously the terrain's a little different because you're going to be going not on a track for cross country. Does that play a factor, or does that help you when it comes to track and field, or it doesn't matter as much?
I say like building up endurance across country is very important for the track season. Like without the cross, the track would not be as successful, at least for me. But at the same time, when you're transferring from cross to track, you got to work on more speed. Obviously, the 2 mile you have to go faster than the 5K, and the mile you have to go faster than the 2 mile. So you got to work on the speed aspect a lot more. I think you got to hammer that in. But it's a good like endurance, like you keep your fitness over cross country, especially, and obviously you still get to compete. And personally, I like cross country more. I think it's more interesting. Obviously, running around track it gets kind of tiring and kind of like all in your head after 8 laps around the track. So I like cross country more, and but it definitely does prepare you for track, and track doesn't prepare you for cross country the same way. It's building up speed and endurance for each other. Kind of they connect very well, and by practicing one season helps the next season.
Right. Is there a spot in a race where it's like you turn on the jets, when it's 2 laps to go, or 400 meters to go? Is there a spot where every time you're gonna unleash it, or is it by whatever the race is, like how it's playing out?
Usually I try to shoot for around like 600 to go. I start some kind of a kick, and like 300 or 400 to go, I'm really, starting to push for all out. But if I'm really not feeling it that day and I'm feeling like I'm gonna have a rough finish, I'll try to push myself at least at the 600, and then my true kick won't come out to like the 200. So it all depends on the day usually. But the 600 is usually where like the kick starts to happen for both the
Yeah,
mile and the 2 mile.
gotcha. Do you get nervous before races?
Usually, yeah.
Yeah,
I set high standards that I want to hit. So, as I said, sometimes when I don't hit them, I get a little frustrated. So, it's a difficult sport. You're always kind of hard. You're kind of hard on yourself. You got to be a competitive person. You got to want to win at all times, I think. And so, yeah, I definitely get nervous. I definitely try, but that also brings with the fact that I care and that I want to push myself. I'm very blessed to be where I'm at. So I try to think of that before I race too. Is just like to calm myself down. 'Cause it's also very important to keep keep yourself out of your head. If you're too much in your head, you're gonna mess yourself up. So you gotta kind of stay calm for the most part.
you mentioned something there that was pretty cool. You don't get to hear that in a lot of young athletes about being hard on yourself. Uh, it's a fresh perspective because if you're not worried about how you're performing and you're not hard on yourself, it's hard to, keep the progression going and get improving. But, also too, keep in mind, you're going to be your hardest critic 9 times out of 10, right? You might think that you could have pushed it differently. The best you could do is just run your own race and just go out there and do the best you can and hope for the best and keep working hard like it sounds like you've been. Are you training like in the summer a lot?
Yeah, I run like right now I'm running around 50 to 60 miles a week. So definitely trying to keep myself building endurance for cross country for sure. And it'll probably drop a little bit when I start racing. You don't want
Yeah,
to risk injury or
overdo it.
push yourself too hard at practice. So, yeah, I'm definitely always pushing at training, and the competitiveness, the competitive drive is always there. I think it's a very big factor of a lot of great runners is they're very competitive and they always want to win. And, at practice, I try to translate that. I try to use my competitiveness to make me want to go faster and build up even more speed and even more endurance, while I'm just practicing with, the team.
Walk me through, 'cause this has always been very interesting for me. Because when every time I've been around, distance runners, after you do a race, you have to go do a cool down run, right? Walk me through your cool down because that's always been something very intriguing to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of like a way of like, you stretch, you cool down, you always keep it, you know, you gotta finish off in a kind of later state. You gotta think about the race, what you did right, what you did wrong. And if it was a great race, you're happy, it's a fun time. If you had a bad race, I mean, you gotta contemplate about how it went, and then you gotta think about how you're gonna do better next time. I think a cool down's a great way to think about that as well as it's like a way to calm yourself down after a race and get like the blood flowing. You don't want to be sitting down after a race. It's how you get, cramps, and it's how you hurt yourself. So I think cool downs are very important. I usually go down 2 miles after my races just to, flush everything out, kind of like, you know, feel a little more refreshed after pushing myself for so long.
Yeah, that's just such a as a thrower, that's such a foreign concept to me. Like, hey, I'm a cool down with another 2 miles after you just running, 2 miles in the meet and stuff. It just cracks me up. But whatever works. I never question it. It seems like everyone does it, so that's it. Clearly works. Do you just do it based on distance, or is it more like time? How's that work?
It's usually based off distance and also like feel. If you got to keep it calm, relaxed. If you're pushing it too much on the cool down, it's probably not a great idea.
Right.
You want to finish on a calm note. So you usually try to shoot for at fastest like 7:30, 7 flat pace for your cool down. And I always go around 2 miles just as like a target kind of. Sometimes I'll go over, sometimes I'll go under. It depends on how I'm feeling. But it's mostly off of mileage, I'd say.
Yeah. Now, walk me through, is the preparation different from indoor to outdoor? Because obviously the conditions play a role. Walk me through that process.
I think in indoor you can always expect the exact same like temperatures and
Right. Not a
conditions
lot of
for the most part.
miscibles.
In outdoor, with all like the rain, cold, heat, it's very hard to predict. But usually we'll, if it's a hot week, we're training outside at all times. So we're training in the heat. So we're getting ready for that. And then if it's an indoor, we run at indoor tracks to prepare for races like at YSU. That's where we go every Wednesday. We run usually workouts there. So to prepare ourselves for indoor races. So it's all very similar in the workouts we do, but where we do it then does change.
And you mentioned something there too. You guys go to the same place every time for indoor?
Oh, yeah, for the most part, we usually go to YSU because they have an open track night on Wednesdays. So we go there almost every week. There's not really many other indoor places that we can go to. So that's usually the only one. But for outdoor, we travel around. You know, we can, there's many outdoor tracks around the area that you can use. So
Gotcha.
it helps a lot as well.
Now, walk us through your nationals experience. Like, how'd you, first off, where did you go? And if you liked it or not, if you've been to other ones, how'd that all work out?
I've been at New Balance Nationals indoor and outdoor the past 2 years. I've been very blessed to go, and I love it there. It's the environment's really cool. Everybody there is really excited about the race. Some are nervous, but for the most part, it's all a very exciting event, and everybody loves to be there because not everyone can go, and we all realize that it's a very important thing that we're all very committed to track, that we all like, are committed enough to go to a nationals race, and as fun as it is, the day of the race, you got to focus in a little bit. I'm at a younger age, I try to like lighten it up a little bit. I have so many years to do it. I got to have a fun time at least. But obviously, you got to focus up for the big races, and it's a very good environment for it. Everybody there is focused on their race, but they're also having a good. Some people are having a good time as well. So it's you can always find a good crowd to be with. And watching the races is really great as well. The competition there is amazing. It's great to see the runners from all events, really. I love both the places that they take, both the arenas they take place in.
Hmm.
Franklin Field's great. I love the New Balance track in Boston. They're both really great places to run. I love both of them. I mean, I don't think I could pick one specifically because they're both just
Right, right.
really fun to run at.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, New Balance is probably one of the most fun parts of the track season.
You said something too there, and again, back to like our intro podcast where we're kind of explaining like my love for track and field and how it's different from other sports. You were saying in nationals, it's a cool community. Everybody's there to have fun, root each other on. When we were sitting there watching, there's athletes sitting there watching consistently, rooting on other people. You kind of make friends kind of there. Way different mentality than in like a wrestling tournament. Because I remember like in wrestling tournaments, it was like singular focus. Like I'm there to win. I don't care about anybody else. Like I'm here to beat you. You know what I mean? So it's kind of cool how like everybody kind of uplifts each other at these meets.
But yeah, I think the track environment's really cool, and how you know you can root on teammates that are in different events. You're not always competing with people. I think everyone there's it's very close community. How everybody tries to lift, even if you're in the same competition. We try to lift each other up. You make friends all at every meet, really. So I think it's a special sport where it's not as like also the same thing with it's you're shooting for your own goals, your own time.
Mhm.
So it's not as much
Right.
head to head as like other sports are. So
Right.
I think that's a part of it as well. And it's
It's
very
a lot.
fun to watch other events. So
It's a lot of you versus you type.
yeah,
Murph,
for
you had
sure.
the opportunity to watch him a lot this year, specifically I think in indoor, right?
Yeah, I think we caught each other a few times in indoor. And we traveled a lot into Ohio for indoor. I think you guys traveled a lot too. We didn't just go to Edinburgh every weekend. So I definitely got to see you run a lot. I am super interested to hear what you have to say, kind of about cross country season, to be honest. I'm more into the track side of it. I don't follow cross country quite as much, but I am super interested. I know your freshman year, you made it to states for cross country. Probably wasn't necessarily the outcome that you wanted. And then you get back there this year as a sophomore and place third in the state. I've got to assume your junior year, you're definitely coming for the number one spot. Are you more, you kind of harped a little bit on running for time. Are you more focused for this cross country season to finish first in the state level? Or are you more interested in maybe just hitting a time right?
For states, I think it's important to if at that point in the season I'm not hitting the one times I want to, I'd be over time as well. But I think you're always shooting for that first place, that next spot. So I think I'll be probably this year. I assume I'll be shooting for both at that point. But it's always good to have goals, I think, and especially in running. Goals are very important. So I think I'll have a lot of goals for the season,
Yeah,
and shooting for a better placement at states is definitely one of them.
for sure. Yeah. And I mean, just from your freshman season in cross country to your sophomore year, I mean, it was just a huge improvement in the numbers for sure. You cut off dang near from what I'm looking at here, a minute to 2 minutes in your time for cross country. I assume you're probably going to cut off some more time this year just based off of your indoor and outdoor season. So I've got to ask because I know during indoor and outdoor, you had the power up, which is the headband. Do you also wear the headband for cross country?
But yeah, I wore it for so the story is I got it in middle school. That's where it started, and I always wore it because when my hair gets long, I like to like keep it out of my face a little bit at least while I'm racing. So I wore it then, and I performed pretty well in middle school, I'd say. So and freshman year, I had some good times, but I wanted to get a little better, and I was like, like thinking I should bring it back. So I wore it for a couple races, and I performed pretty well in those races. Set PRs. So my coach was telling me, I guess I just got to keep it for the rest of the career, I guess, as of now. So yeah,
Yeah,
for the foreseeable
I
future, the headband will stay.
all right. I do dig the headband. It's definitely like I just feel like if somebody asks me something and they're like, who's this Jack kid? I'm like, yeah, the kid that wears the headband, right? I do dig the headband, so hopefully it brings you some luck this year too.
Give us a goal for next season. Like what's the number that you're looking for? What or anything?
So I ran in that 14:45 5K in indoor for the at New Balance. So the goal for now for cross country is to somehow at least replicate that, if not, hopefully do a little better time wise, so that I can get on a good flat course where I can set that time again. So because I know I can already do it. I've done it before. So I have faith in myself to do it again.
Eh,
So that
cool.
is the current goal for now.
I dig it. So I wanted to get into something we've been doing with all of our interviews. like a rapid fire segment. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you questions pretty fast. Just give me your answer, whatever first comes up in your head. Okay. All right, here we go. Favorite athlete.
Take too long. Oh, Jeremiah Smith. We'll go with that.
Okay. Dream college.
Dream college. As of now, I'm not sure yet. Actually, it's a little too early.
Okay. Okay. Favorite shoes.
Favorite shoes. I like the Mizuno trainers the most.
Okay. Favorite sport movie.
Fortunately, Moneyball.
Are you a morning person or a night person?
Night person.
Favorite snack.
Bananas.
Okay. Nike or Adidas?
I wear. I wear both. We'll go with Nike.
Coffee or energy drinks?
I do neither. I'll take a little bit of caffeine before like races, but I don't. I try to stay away from energy drinks
Okay.
or coffee. So
Personal record you're most proud of?
14:45 5K.
Nice. Nice. Murph, you got anything else?
Yeah, so we kind of talked about it just really quickly. I saw you run a lot in indoor, saw you run outdoor a lot, and your team also a very good team on the boys' side and the girls' side. I've got to assume you guys are probably coming back pretty loaded again next year. Uh, what's the team aspect looking like next year for you guys? Think you're gonna have a pretty good shot on both sides again, or?
Yeah, I think the girls team has a great shot, but from what I know about our boys team, we're very loaded this year. We're all very motivated. We're all a great group of guys that really want to win. So I have a whole ton of faith in the team. Obviously, we're losing our senior Tyler, but I believe that we got a group of rising junior boys that's ready to win. So they'll be shooting for high placements, good times. So I think it'll be a great season for the team in general too. We did good last year, and we're trying to do better this year. Actually, I'd say.
Yeah, no doubt. I definitely think there's 2 to 4 teams in that 2A that are probably coming for it next year. I'd have to say you guys being one of it. So I'm super interested to see how that plays out. I love the individual aspect of track and field, but I also think the team aspect is pretty interesting. It's kind of hard to replicate what you have to do as a team to get to even to make the playoffs, let alone make the finals and win the whole thing. So super interested to see. I think you guys are probably going to be pretty loaded next year on both sides. I think you have a good shot there. But other than that, Jack, I appreciate you coming on, man. Appreciate giving us some time through your day here. It was a pleasure having you. Best of luck to you in the next season. You have any last words?
No, I mean, thanks for having me. This was very fun.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I look forward to watching you. Look forward to watching you throughout the next season. Maybe, I'm trying to maybe get to 1 or 2 cross meets. But if not, I'm sure we'll cross paths in indoor and the outdoor as well. So I appreciate you hopping on. Lane 8 Media, we are out. We will catch you on the next episode. Appreciate it. Have a good night.